Welcome to the Fitness Business Podcast, brought to you by Active Management, the world's leading fitness business coaches who in 2015 will help you #grow your business. This is the world's #1 podcast for fitness business owners and managers. We interview real owners and learn what has been working for them to make them so successful. Here's the host of the Fitness Business Podcast, Chantal.
Thanks, Harper. Hey, guys, it's great to be back with you all once again. I hope you've had a super week. I know it's been a busy one for many of you who attended CanFit Pro in the last week. I want to say just a big congratulations to any of you that presented. It definitely sounds like it was a great couple of days. If you did check out the event, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you loved about it. Tell me who was your favorite presenter. You guys know by now, I'm always here, so you can send me an email at any time. It's chantal@activemgmt.com.au. I'd love to hear what you thought. Now, you probably know that podcasting is my favorite time of the week because it means that I get to bring you a special guest that I know is going to add value to your career in the fitness industry. This week's guest is actually a regular on the show. You know him. It's JT from Active Management. And this week, he's going to give us a rundown on his experience in a heap of different gyms from across the globe. Now, the gyms that we're going to check out are the RowHouse and the MileHigh Run Club. Both of them are based in New York. We're heading over to 220 Fitness in Santa Monica. And plus, he checked out Orange Theory Fitness for the very first time. And there's one particular feature which really makes them stand out from the crowd. So we're going to talk about that too. All of that. Plus, we're also going to cover the consumer trend called Betterment. Now, later on in the show, Sharon from Podcast Prowess is also back with her latest tip on starting your very own podcast. And this month, she's going to give us the inside tip on what's involved in a well-planned launch. So that's it, my friends. Let's get stuck into this week's show. Over to my chat with JT from Active Management. Hi, everyone. Welcome along to today's show and welcome to Justin Tamsett from Active Management.
G'day. How is everybody doing?
We're good because we're back again for another show, JT, and you were back on Australian soil for a short amount of time, I'm sure, but you've just visited New York, ClubFit. I believe you're over there with ClubFit in New York and Anytime Fitness MultiClub Owners in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And Facebook would have us believe that you just travel the world visiting gyms. I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of people think your job is. So you visited a few gyms as well. Why don't you give us a bit of an update of what you've been up to?
Yeah, you're probably right. Facebook gives a false impression of my life, and Instagram is even worse because you take a photo of yourself in a gym and next thing you know, you've got 25 spam bots that are now liking your photos and It's amazing. Look, I had a really interesting trip. It was probably one of my best and exciting trips to the US. I was only there a week, but it was really exciting. Obviously, we worked with a brand new client, ClubFit. We did some sales training and some management training with their whole management team. So I think we had about 40 people where we went through the basics of running a gym and tried to drill down to them that the person that was in charge of the success of the business was actually the individuals in the club. So it was a very cool exercise. We did it in what they call the energy gym, which is the gym that all the kids use. So it's this massive joint. And the ClubFit is huge. They've got two businesses there, two gyms, and it's just huge. I think it's 3,500 square metres.
That's huge. Just tell us a little bit more about the energy gym, the kids.
Oh, it was
area.
just,
that sounds cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They could shoot hoops and then it had bouncy floor on it. It was
awesome.
Pretty cool, yeah. ClubFit have got everything. It's a very cool place. And then I did some work with the MultiClub Owners at Anytime and then swung through Santa Monica on the way home. But all of all, I also visited 4 boutique studios.
You know I love hearing about your gym visits and your workouts while you're away, so tell us a bit about those.
So the first one I went to in New York was a place called the RowHouse. Mm-hmm. And the RowHouse is, I would say, it's about a 200 square metres, so what's that, 9 twos? Just about 2,000 square feet studio that only had Concept 2 rowers. So we did a 60-minute Concept 2 row class.
Was that exhausting?
That would be one word. maybe another. I do, if I'm at the gym, I may row 1,000 metres. Generally, that's sort of that 500-metre mark. And the warm-up row, which led into the first interval, was 18 minutes.
Wow, that was the warm-up row.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, but it was really interesting because the first part, she really focused on your technique, you know, really working on a long drive with your legs. And so that was really cool. And then she moved into, now you've got your technique right, we're going to do this over a 2 or 3 minute period. So the programming was pretty cool. I think you did about an 18-minute section, and then we got off and we did just what you needed, some lunges and some sit-ups and some push-ups, and then back on for another 12 minutes, and then off and did some other leg exercises and some more abs, and then back on with a real sort of power finish for another 8 or 12 minutes. Fair to say at the end I was pretty busted.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, but it was really enjoyable. Instructor was good. It's just bizarre being in a room with, what do they have, I think 28 Concept 2s. It's
really interesting, JT, because you might remember a couple of years ago a class called Shockwave came out to Australia, and it's got a portion of it of rowing. I think the most that we do in Shockwave is about 350 metres, so
wow.
It's not far, okay?
No.
It's kind of like a snippet of what you're talking about. How popular is rowing as an activity? You know, you're talking about a club that's dedicated to it, or a gym that's... How popular is it overseas?
Well, these clubs, they had three back-to-back classes on a Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and there was 15 in each minimum in each of the classes on a Sunday morning.
Wow.
I think rowing is probably, while it's cardiovascularly really tough, it's probably a really easy on your joints.
Yeah, because you're supported like a cycle. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the class.
Yeah.
And the instructor was really good. I'm not a good rower and my technique sucks, but I felt at the end of that class I learned something.
And was there a goal? Like, were you competing against the people around you, or was it just purely your own?
Purely your own.
Yourself?
And she would be saying, okay, you need to be trying to row at X number of strokes per minute, or I want you to slow your strokes down per minute and pull harder.
Yep.
And really work on your catch, or really work on whatever else terms you used.
All those rowing terms.
All those rowing terms. But it was really cool, and I really felt at the end of the class I'd achieved something, and so I bought a T-shirt afterwards to say I'd been there.
A memory.
Yeah.
Took a photo.
It was good. No, it was really
good.
It was fun.
That's good. Do they, out of interest, do they work on a membership model, or did you pay?
Yeah,
is there a casual?
Yeah, it's a membership model. I think I paid $30 or $35 US to do it as a drop-in visit. You can do multi-visits.
Okay, RowHouse, tick. Where else did you visit?
Well, that was in the morning, and then 22 kilometres later, because I just kept walking while I was in New York City, it was like 30 degrees. It was such a cracking day. It was beautiful. So I walked down to the other end of New York to the MileHigh Run Club.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting name for a business.
Very.
And that, again, probably about a 2,000 square foot, 200 square metre studio that had, it might have been a fraction bigger than that actually, because it had 38 treadmills. So they used wood weight treadmills, 38 of them in the room. You got the music cranked, and this freaking Energizer bunny male instructor, I can't remember his name. If you're on my Instagram feed, you'll know who it was, because he was just full of life. And the class I did was dash 28. Mm-hmm. So we did 28 minutes on the treadmill of varying intervals.
Wow.
You know, some intervals were like 2 minutes, some were 30 seconds. It was pretty cool. It was a good workout.
Was it designed for a particular level of experience?
Yeah.
I mean, did you have to go in there having been a runner? Or?
No, what was really cool was on the treadmills they had like a beginner, a jogger, and a runner.
Right.
So this was on a sheet of paper, beginner, jogger, runner, and then there were columns across which said this is your base speed, this is like your push speed, and then this is your extra speed. I can't remember what those terms were, but that's what they were across the top. And then so if you were just a power walker, jogger, it gave you suggested speeds that you should be at and a bracket. So that was really cool.
I want to know, did you find out what's the story behind the name of the business?
Oh, no. Well, a lot of the training they do there is for runners.
Right.
So the Dash 28 class was 28 minutes on the treadie, and then we did 12 minutes of kettlebell work.
It's an interesting combo.
So you're fairly busted after running,
Yeah.
and then you get off and we did some lunges, we did some push-ups, we used the kettlebells, so we did weighted squats, we did supported row. But like for an example, the kettlebells were not heavy, but then you're pretty busted, so they felt heavy.
Yeah.
So we were doing a supported row, which is working your lats, and the instructor corrected my form, of course. And as he was correcting my form, he said, now this should be your arm movement while you're running.
Oh, so all related back to that running training. Interesting.
And I'm like, that's really cool. So all the stuff that we did with the kettlebell was related back to strengthening your ability to run. So that was pretty cool.
Very cool. So far in one day, you've rowed, you've run. What else?
That was it.
You couldn't have fitted any more in that day.
I walked and I slept.
How about the rest of the trip?
Well, I did a couple of outdoor workouts in Stillwater because there really wasn't any gyms. So if you're out there listening and you're looking at an opportunity to open a club, Stillwater in Minnesota is probably a good one. There isn't Anytime Fitness there, but it's not quite near where everybody is. It's a little bit out of town, and not having a car may not even get there. Then when I went to Santa Monica, I wasn't quite sure what I would do, and I was living on the edge, so I did my first bar class.
Wow. I did not expect you to say that.
I did not do my bar class in a tutu, as someone put on my Facebook page. So I went to a club called 220 Fitness, which is sort of more suburban Santa Monica. It's 2 miles out of the main drag, and really cool club, like awesome outdoor space. Oh my God, great outdoor space this club has.
What was so cool about it? What
they had
some of the features?
It was just big, and it was outdoors, and it had that covered areas. It was like an outdoor gym.
Right.
It was funky. It was cool. The indoor gym had like a boxing ring and other stuff, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But the outdoor I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I really wanted to they do the surfboard core classes there. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to do that, but that was booked up and I wasn't thinking enough. And the guy told me when I arrived that those classes tend to be booked out a week in advance. So because I couldn't book into that, I booked in to do bar burn.
I really want you to paint a picture. I need to understand what this involved.
Okay, so I'm going in carrying an injury.
Yeah.
My injury is that the day before in Stillwater, this is why they don't have a gym, is they have stairs in Stillwater, which are sponsored by Anytime Fitness and a personal trainer there, Sarah Toomey Personal Training, and they're 157 stairs. And so I'd run them a few times. Mm-hmm. So my calves are now killing me. I was busted. My legs were so sore. And now I rock up to Barre. I'm glad I walked there because the 2 miles kind of warmed up my legs. Yeah. And it was really interesting. I have a whole new respect for the strength of dancers. Mm-hmm. You know, the program was okay.
Yeah.
But it was just a different type of workout. I didn't get all hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
But, wow, the strength in your legs and your core.
Yeah, still got that workout.
So I quite liked it, I think, because it was that low intensity. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty cool. I can absolutely see where Barre would fit in on your group fitness timetable. I can see that that's going to be something people are going to ask for because it is so heavily strength and endurance based in your legs. It gets your heart rate up, but it's low. It's no impact.
Okay, so that was the Barre workout. What was the fourth visit?
The fourth place I went to was Orange Theory Fitness.
Tell us.
Orange Theory has just opened in Australia this week, so the first week of August. So I thought I'd better go and check it out. And I had a workout in their club in Santa Monica. I'm not sure what I felt about Orange Theory, but after doing, the other boot camp type things, I really wasn't sure and I was a bit skeptical, but I quite enjoyed the workout. I found it quite tough, but the thing that I really like about Orange Theory is their branding.
Okay.
Every listener out there, get yourself along to an Orange Theory wherever you are in the world and just have a look at their branding because it is so consistent. I mean, you've got to like orange because orange is everywhere, but the branding in the place is really consistent. The orange meets their philosophy around their exercise programming and what they want you to do while you're in the studio. But it's very cool. I was really impressed with, you know, there's an Orange Theory pen to sign in with, their bumper stickers, there's clothes, the change rooms are orange, the walls are orange, the lights are orange, the water rowers are orange. So there's some really cool, funky stuff there. And I think as an industry, we can learn from this sort of a franchise around branding.
Just for anyone that isn't familiar with Orange Theory, as you mentioned, it's only just opened up in Australia this week. Tell us just a little bit more about the gym. What do we expect when we walk into an Orange Theory?
So you do about, I think generally it's about 15 minutes on a treadie. Mm-hmm. Then you'll do cardio, which will be treadie and water rower. So they'll different sort of combinations of both through the class. Some of it's longer endurance and they'll pick it up to real sprint work and get your heart rate up. Then you also do strength work. So they've got TRX and dumbbells and benches and floor work. Mm-hmm. So you might do, I mean, it's all compound exercises. The class that I happen to do just had way too many burpees. I didn't even know you could do a one-legged burpee, but they taught us how to do one-legged burpees, and I didn't do them very well.
Yeah. How are your calf muscles?
Yeah. See, Barre in the morning and one-legged burpees in the afternoon, not good. But from a workout perspective, good. I mean, and we're going to talk about this today in Consumer Trends. You wear a heart rate monitor and you accrue points based on where your heart sits in your workout. So I can't remember the percentages, but there is a percentage where they want you in the green zone, a percentage where they want you in the orange zone, and ideally you don't get in the red zone, which is your max heart rate.
Right.
So it's all based on your heart rate, your height. Your height gives you your calorie burn and your weight gives you calorie burn. So you get a calorie measurement and then you get a percentage of time that you spend in each of the zones, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then that converts with their software to give you what they call splat points, SPLAT points. And it's a real quantifiable way to say at the end of the workout, hey, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and every person that walks in the door, do they all take part in this? Do they all wear a heart rate monitor? So you don't just rock up and kind of, you know, twiddle your thumbs or anything. No, you're going there with the intention to be monitored to receive these statistics.
Yeah. Now, you can't – it's not a normal heart rate monitor. The MyZone belt doesn't work. The Polar belt doesn't work. It's unique to Orange Theory. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing. I think that probably limits their market, especially when, you know, the cost of them.
Yeah.
But – and it sits up on a TV. So at any stage on the TV, you can look at where you're at, what level you're working at. You can compare with other people if you can visualise and look and see all that all on the TV because there's a lot – I think the TV might hold 16 people up at the one time. So I really like that aspect of the program as well. I think maybe I like the quantifiable self concept. So it was pretty cool.
Yep. Okay. So good tip to go and check out not only the club but also the branding by the sounds of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And with the orange everywhere. Okay, I think that sounds like a pretty well-rounded trip that you had. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was good. And, you know, I spent some time also with the MultiClub Owners of Anytime Fitness in the US. I met one guy that has 25 Anytime Fitness.
25.
Yep. 25 of them.
Is that the max? Is that the regular?
I think that
it has to be.
He has the most.
Yeah.
But there's a lot there that are sort of that 4 to 5 and then 10 to 15. And it's really interesting because they kind of talk about it like they're buying and selling houses or hotels in Monopoly. Yeah. You know, how many clubs have you got? Oh, today I've got 8, but tomorrow I've got 9 because I'm picking one up. So it was really fascinating to talk to these guys. And interestingly enough, you know, the guy that had 25 clubs, he still has the same problems as the person that has one.
Yeah.
You know, how do I find a manager? What's the best employment strategy? How do we do our meetings? What's the compensation packages? So it doesn't really matter what size your business is. We still have a lot of the same sort of problems.
Recurring issues. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, let's come back to our consumer topic trend, or let's explore our consumer topic trend, because last time we caught up, we talked about status deniers and brand fanatics. So this time you told us that we're going to talk Betterment.
Yeah, so, and that's interesting when you talk Betterment because of my experience at Orange Theory, where we still have this, the consumer still has this enormous info lust. They still lust to be able to know information about themselves. They want to always improve themselves, the quantifiable self. They want to know how their sleep patterns are, how many calories they've consumed, how many calories they've burned, how many steps they've walked, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we still want to know, we want to know that information. And more consumers are going, I'm collecting this information. You know, I've got an Apple Watch now. So I'm collecting on my Apple Watch every day my calories that I burn, the steps that I've taken, my average heart rate feeds through to my iPhone. So I've got the health app there. So I'm getting all this data. But how does that make us better? That's the problem.
Good question.
And so what the concept of Betterment is that consumers are collecting all this data, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what it means. Now, how does this impact what I do in the gym? How does this impact how I sleep? How does this impact on my incidental exercise? They've got all this data, but they don't know what to do with it. So the analogy that I make is like Google Analytics on your website.
Yep.
The average person, when they pull off at the end of the month their Google Analytics report from their website, would look at it with a blank face. What do these numbers mean? What's a bounce rate?
Yeah.
You know, what's his exit entry points? You know, what's this source? They don't get it. Or if they do get it, they don't know how to improve it.
Yeah.
So I know what a bounce rate is, but I've got
what
no idea.
What do you do with it?
What do I do with that?
Yeah.
So I have to then go and find a Google Analytics expert who can say that first. I have to find someone who understands it to then not just decipher it, but then give me direction on what changes I need to make on my website to improve those analytics. Does that make sense?
It does, because I've been in that situation myself where I've received a report and kind of gone, well, shit, it's great to have all that information, but you kind of need someone to translate it.
Yep.
And then, as you say, give you advice on then what to do.
And so that's what the consumer's saying with all this data about their sleep patterns, their exercise, their calories, all that sort of information, the information that the apps are giving us, the information that the Apple Watch is giving us. What do we do with all of that? And so what the consumer is saying, I need a human being to decipher this information. So they're looking at new and innovative ways to connect with people, but they want to connect with the right mentor or the right teacher who can explain that. So for me, this is a really cool concept because I think personal training in a lot of businesses, whether it's a PT studio or a club, has been commoditized. Don't get me started on this, but I don't believe that the majority of people that are paying for personal training are getting personal training. It's just a client being pushed through a sausage mill.
True.
But I think with the concept of Betterment is that we can now offer a brand new product where you're not a personal trainer, but you become more of a personal coach. And the data that we collect allows us to be able to look at someone's whole life over a week. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I can see what you're doing because of, if you got the Apple Watch, for example, it gives us the idea of what that data is collecting. It gives me the idea of your incidental exercise. You know, you want to try to complete you want to stand up every hour for 12 hours according to the Apple Watch. So if you're not standing up, then as a trainer, you can say, hey, you're not standing up enough. You're only completing your blue ring half the time in a week. So I believe it's a brand new product that we can offer in our clubs, in our studios, and charge a premium price.
Yeah.
So if PT was $60 for half an hour, we can now sell it at $80 for the half hour, plus I'll look at all your data that you've collected over the week.
This translating coaching service. Yeah.
That's right.
It's really...
So it almost becomes a 45-minute session, which is 30 minutes workout and 15 minutes non-sweat, where I'll analyse what you've said and give you some direction.
And coaching. You know, we talked about this briefly earlier, and I think it's thinking about what you're talking about. It's not that these products are competitive to a personal trainer. It's actually looking and saying, well, how can I utilise these products to enhance the services that I'm providing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you look at a product like MyZone, or you look at the software that Orange Theory use, or the Apple Watch, they give you this data, and I get the email back, like the feedback, the tech feedback that MyZone gives you, or the tech feedback that Orange Theory gives you, or Polar, or whatever other products are out there that give us this feedback. I get the email and I go, great, what the hell does that mean? I want to be able to forward that on to my personal trainer. And this is what the consumer's saying is, tell me what it means. And does that mean that when I next do the class or the next time I'm wearing my belt, I need to go harder at the beginning or I need to go easier at the end? What exactly does it mean? Yeah. Like with my trainer, I take a photo. If I've done a row session, I can get in the back, in the memory section of the Concept 2, take a photo, I'll send it to him. I don't understand what it means.
Yeah.
I can look at it and go, oh, well, I'm rowing faster than I did last time, but what does that actually mean? Does that mean I'm getting fitter? The assumption is yes. I send it to him. He looks at the strokes per minute. He doesn't look at the speed and goes, your strokes per minute is actually faster than you were doing 6 months ago. So that's a good thing. You're getting stronger. Or your strokes per minute are slower, but that's okay. You're going further, so you're using your legs more, and he can pick that up. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Now I know that shit. Yeah. I can work harder in my gym workouts. So I just think there's a huge opportunity there because we're collecting all this data and the consumer's saying, tell me what it means. And at the moment, I don't think there's any gym in the world or PT business in the world that has let's call it a deciphering service.
Deciphering.
A service
it's a new word.
Yeah, deciphers the code or the information and puts it into a digestible message for the average person in the gym.
Yeah. Well, there's a challenge.
Yeah, I think it's a great consumer trend.
Yep.
It's out there. We've got to take advantage of it.
What are we going to do with it?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said, don't compete with it.
Yeah.
Accept it and go, 10% of my members are using MyFitnessPal. What the hell am I going to do with that?
Use it to your advantage. How can you utilise that? And how can you be one of the first to do it? You know, and use that as a unique selling point for your business or for your PT services. That's a good one.
I was at a meeting an event last night at the Apple store here in Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
And Amelia Burton from 12-Week Body Transformation, 12WBT, which is a huge, for those that are overseas, this is a massive, what would you call it? Body transformation.
Online. It's an online personal training program.
Yeah.
Really.
And she said this, which not surprising, but reinforced. She said the people that get the best results are the people that measure everything, that quantifiable self.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they have a service that translates the information, but they know that the people that are tracking their heart rates, tracking their internal exercise, using all the apps that are out there, 12WBT have embraced it.
Right.
And said, collect this data.
Yep.
It's going to help you.
Yep.
And the end result is the people that collect that data get better results.
And we know from a gym perspective, the people that get results are the ones that are going to stick around for longer.
Yep.
So it all
and it gives
relates.
us, and then, like I say, if we've got this product, it's a secondary stream of income that we can then offer.
Yeah. And we're always looking for new incremental streams of income.
Yeah. And
right?
I do think if you did that, then you really are doing personal training.
That's right.
Which is very different and it's a unique product.
Yeah.
So I want to chuck it out there and just say, if you're listening to this podcast and you get this concept of what I'm talking about, share what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Come back to us and tell us what the product looks like in your business because I think there's a huge opportunity here.
We want to hear from you. Definitely. Okay, so next month, what are we talking about?
What do you want to talk about?
I'm open. I guess I should say to you, are you travelling in the next month? That should be the first question. Where are you going?
No, I'm going to...
You're going to sit still for a while?
Yeah, I'm going to be home in Australia for the next little while, which is pretty cool. What I thought I might do next month is just talk a little bit about some of the things that I've seen where people have listened. I've worked with our clients and using these consumer trends and just talk about some examples that they've done.
Okay, that sounds really good.
So, I'll talk about a club that's doing some stuff around status, for example, and give some examples around that so that people listening to the podcast can walk away and go, oh, that's a real take-home thing that we could use.
That sounds like a good idea. I haven't told you this. I had an experience in Hawaii of your topic. You talked about killing or filling waiting time.
Oh, yeah.
I came across a business that desperately needs to either kill or fill their waiting time. It wasn't fitness related. I won't mention the name of the company, but it was a hire car. And I was standing in a queue for an hour and your subject popped into my head and I went, man, if I had something to fill this waiting time, I'd be a lot less angry than what I am right now waiting for a hire car. So I might pop them a note and just make a suggestion.
Maybe you should tell them to listen to the Fitness Business Podcast.
I think I
Show
will
number,
do that.
whatever it is.
That's right. I will. I'll give them that suggestion.
So, yes, the next one I'll give some practical examples of people that I've worked with, some of my clients who understand the consumer trends, and we'll run through some practical examples that they're doing.
That sounds good to me. That's it from us today. Thanks, JT, for joining us once again.
Hey, it's great being live. I like being live. It's cool.
Very cool. Okay, we will see you back here next month.
Indeed.
As you know, one of our goals at the Fitness Business Podcast is to help you grow your business. So I love it when I can tell you about solutions to help you do just that. One of our podcast sponsors is Tribe Team Training, and I'll tell you exactly why you need to remember that name. Let me start by asking you 3 questions. Is your club struggling to grow your membership numbers because of more and more competition? Is your club under pressure to reduce membership fees for your existing members? Do you lose members who go to niche small group programs like CrossFit, boot camps, and boxing, where they often pay double what they're paying with you? Well, the good news is that some clubs have found a new way to grow their club's revenue and profit without having to sell extra memberships. They're doing this by implementing a highly profitable small group training system called Tribe Team Training. In fact, one regional club with only 600 members takes over $200,000 per year on top of their membership fees from their Tribe Team Training program. So, what's it all about? Well, Tribe Team Training is a complete small group training business system that helps clubs make more money without having to sell more memberships. Whether you're currently running small group training or not, it is worth taking the time to see what Tribe Team Training can add to your business. In fact, some clubs have grown to over 30, 40, and 50 sessions per week, with members paying $10 to $15 extra per session. Most clubs have underutilized space or time that can be generating extra cash for the club, extra work for the trainers and the Group X instructors, plus delivering outstanding results for members. The Tribe programs work on large exercise floors and in small functional training spaces with as little as 60 square meters. You may have already have functional training equipment, but without the consistent delivery of fresh programs, it's difficult to take maximum advantage of it. Now, regardless of the success of your current programs, Tribe is offering club owners a free online briefing so you can see for yourself the difference between team training and small group training, the difference it can make to your members, the opportunities it gives to your trainers and instructors, and the extra income it can add to your club. So, to register for your free briefing, all you need to do is head over to tribeteamtraining.com or tribeteamtraining.com.au. Let me tell you those addresses again. It's tribeteamtraining.com or tribeteamtraining.com.au. And of course, a copy of both of those website links will be in today's show notes. Okay, guys, I think you probably know by now that we are huge fans of podcasting. That goes without saying, but especially podcasting for marketing your business and helping you share information. So for all of you out there who are thinking about starting your own podcast, this one is for you. Our resident podcast expert, Sharon Townsley, is going to give us the inside tip on exactly what's involved in a well-planned podcast launch. Sharon Townsley is our resident podcast expert, and she owns a company called Podcast Prowess. She helped get us started at the Fitness Business Podcast, and since then, she has become a very valuable member of our team. Hi again, Sharon, and welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, Chantel. Thanks so much for inviting me back on the show today.
Now, last month you told us all about using intros and outros to set expectations and give calls to action. This month, you said you're going to give us some ideas on how to send our podcast out into the world and what's involved in a well-planned launch.
Yes, as I said last time, your podcast is like a kid who's getting ready to go out into the world and make a name for herself. So you want to prepare her in every way you can and give her all the tools and support she needs to make it big. So here, I'll give you a few ingredients in a well-planned launch. Before the initial release of your podcast, you want to have a place where listeners can come for more information and where they can communicate with you about what they might like to hear covered on upcoming episodes, or where they can tell you issues they're struggling with that you could possibly address on a future show. And most importantly, where they can go to provide email addresses so you can keep them informed.
That is definitely an important one. So where would you say is the best place to store all of that information?
Well, the best place is a website. And from there, you can do just about anything you like. You can stream every episode if you like. You can provide a show notes page that sums up each show. You can offer a resources page, which includes affiliate links or coaching sessions and other valuable resources that, in addition to helping listeners, it helps you earn money. And WordPress websites are the way to go. You can find people who specialize in those all over the internet. And part of that website must also be about building your email list. Your email list is arguably the most important business asset you'll own. And there's no better way to connect with your fans than via their inbox. And there are many different email marketers out there, but my favorite and the best, in my opinion, is Aweber. There are others out there like Constant Contact and MailChimp, but Aweber is a standout, in my opinion.
Okay, so what else should we be considering before we launch our podcast?
Well, another thing you should be prepared to use before you launch is social media. For the most part, it's free, and it's crazy not to take advantage of it. Maintaining social media pages can be time-consuming, though. So in the beginning, pick one or two to focus on and grow from there. The most popular social media platforms are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Google+. But find out where the people who are interested in your subject hang out and focus there. And last but certainly not least, one of the most important aspects in preparing for your launch is in the number of completed episodes you have ready to go.
That is a really important one. That was something that I didn't know before we launched the Fitness Business Podcast. So how many shows do you recommend you should have ready to go before launching?
Well, I would say at least 3 episodes ready to go and publish all 3 at the same time. A big mistake many podcasters make is launching with just 1 episode. And if a listener finds your podcast and you have only 1 episode available, they're going to wonder, first of all, if you're serious. And second of all, if there's only 1 episode available, they're likely to listen to it and not subscribe, since there really isn't anything to subscribe to yet. Additionally, just as John Lee Dumas explains in his book, Podcast Launch, if you have 100 people find your podcast in the first week and you only have 1 episode available, you'll have 100 downloads. But if you have 3 episodes available, people will likely subscribe and download all 3 episodes. So just like that, you have 300 downloads and several subscribers, and your chances of ranking in iTunes' new and noteworthy category just skyrocketed. So there you go. Now you're ready to launch.
That all sounds really great. So we're all set to go. But can you tell me a little bit more about the iTunes new and noteworthy category that you just talked about?
Well, yeah, and there's some debate out there about how important ranking in iTunes can be to a podcast. But I personally think it's critical, and I'll explain why and what to do to get there on your next show.
That sounds perfect. So next month, Sharon's going to give us some suggestions on how to get noticed in the iTunes new and noteworthy category and why she believes it's so important. As mentioned at the top of this segment, Sharon owns a company called Podcast Prowess, where she consults with and manages podcasts and internet radio shows. If you'd like to find out more about her business, you can jump online and head to podcastprowess.com. And as always, all of the links that Sharon mentioned in today's episode will be available on the Fitness Business Podcast website in the show notes page. Thank you for your time today, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you, Chantel.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast wrap.
Okay, guys, here are my top takeaways from this week's show with JT from Active Management. He was talking about Betterment. Now, he reminded us that the consumer is saying, I need a human to decipher all of this data. We know that they want to connect with the right mentor or the right teacher that can just help explain it all. The introduction of all this data and this tech feedback allows someone that's maybe a traditional personal trainer to now become a personal coach. And we've got to remember that there's a huge opportunity for gyms and for personal trainers to provide clients with a clear, easy translation of what that data from their devices, say their iPhones, their Apple Watches, all that type of stuff, what it actually means and how they can use it to improve their workouts and improve their fitness. Now, on next week's show, I'm going to be chatting to the amazing Mark Miller, who is the Vice President of Merit Athletic Clubs. Guys, let me tell you, do not miss this interview. We talk about leadership, we talk about professional development, and he gives us tips for new managers to really develop themselves in their career. This interview is not only educational, but I've got to tell you guys, Mark is so inspiring to hear him speak. For any of you that are working with a team, I really encourage you to listen to this interview. Now, before I say goodbye for today, don't forget my usual reminder. You guys know this. Jump on and rate the Fitness Business Podcast. We would be so grateful if you do. Just go to iTunes, search for the Fitness Business Podcast, and under the title Ratings and Reviews, click there, give us a star rating, and write us a comment. We love to hear from you. If you've got any suggestions, comments, or feedback about the show, you know where to email me at chantal@activemgmt.com.au. Or if you've got a question about owning or managing a fitness business, send it on through. Might even feature it in an upcoming show. Plus, don't forget, this is really, really important. You can always find all of our previous episodes and our show notes and all the links from the show. So if you want to check out any of those gyms that JT mentioned today, all the links are there in the show notes. Just head over to www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Until next week, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
You have been listening to the world's #1 podcast called the Fitness Business Podcast, brought to you by Active Management. We are dedicated to helping your fitness business #grow in 2015. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au for resources, tools, and more to help you. And by far, the best value for you is to become a member. So join today at www.activemgmt.com.au.